Hello everybody, today we are going to talk about how we can integrate Microsoft Graph APIs into an iOS application. So to achieve that, there are different SDKs provided by Microsoft. So we're going to take dependencies on one of the authentication libraries provided by Microsoft, that is MSL, Microsoft Authentication Library, and then we're going to take dependency on the MSL authentication provider for ObjC, which is provided by Microsoft on top of MSL. And then there's MSGraphCoreSDK, which handles all the network call mechanisms for you. So first thing first, we'll have to create a first fresh project out of from Xcode. You can create it by going to File, New, and Project, and it will create a new Xcode project for you. Now you have to add these libraries into your project. The ideal way defined by the libraries is using the Carthage. So you'll have to create a cart file for your project and have to make entries. Now coming to the point, like how you can create a cart file, you can always do it by going to the terminal. You can go to your project structure. So in my case it is this one, and then you can always fire this command, which is gonna create a cart file for you. Once this cart file is created, you'll have to open it and make these entries into this. So for the purpose of release, it is always advisable to check out the latest tag from the library. So as of now, I have taken the dependency on tags 0.1.4, 0.1.0. So once you have this thing ready, you'll have to fire in the command of Carthage update -FN platform iOS, which will build all the libraries for you for platform iOS, and will check out those libraries, build the frameworks for you, and keep it in the Carthage folder. Once those particular frameworks are ready, you'll have to add those frameworks to your project. You'll have to go to general section, you'll have to go to embedded binaries section, you'll have to add others, and then you'll have to navigate to that particular path where Carthage has kept the frameworks for you. So there's MSGraphCoreSDK, and MSGraphMSL auth provider. Phew, done. Cool. So now we have added these frameworks in our application. What next? We'll have to add a capability of keychain, as MSL advises us to do, in order to cache our access tokens, so we don't have to authenticate again and again. So you have to add this keychain sharing capability in your application, and you'll also have to do one more thing, which is about adding this particular section in your info.plist file, which specifies your application ID. Now this application ID can be registered via going to the apps.dev.microsoft.com portal. Here you can log in using your email ID and create an application ID to be used with your iOS application. So once it is done, then you will have to make this entry in your info.plist file. Now your project is up for development. Now you'll have to import these frameworks in your project, and you'll have to start writing the code, and you'll have to create these 3 instances of different classes provided by 3 different frameworks. So you'll have to initialize your public client application. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Keychain, it asks for my client ID. Remember, client ID, we created it from going to the apps.dev.microsoft.com portal. You'll have to pass in that client ID here. Then this keychain group. This keychain group was created when we enabled the keychain sharing capability for our application. So this you need to pass here, and then error. Okay, so you might have to create this particular error object in order to be able to receive any error if there are any during the initialization of the MS Public Client application class. Now once you have this public client application ready, then you'll have to create an instance of MS authentication provider, which takes in it with public client application and this array of scopes. Scopes are the permission that you generally look for from the user. Once this is ready, you'll have to create your HTTP client using MS Client Factory. It will create an HTTP client for you with authentication provider as your first node of middleware. Once this client is ready, you can actually create some MS URL session data task. Data task with request. It takes a request object into account, so you'll have to create an NS request object for you. NS mutable URL request object. Request NS mutable URL request net with the URL NS URL with string this graph yes URL string by appending a string /me. So this MSGraphBase URL is defined in MSGraphCoreSDK, which says that what will be the base URL for all the network calls you will make using this. So you will have to append the path up after this, and once you have this request ready, you can pass it to the client to create a data task for you, and then you can call data task, execute on it to actually make this network call. We are converting the data into the dictionary format. So now I'm gonna log into this. I'm gonna run this application and see what it does for me. I'm gonna put a tiny bit of breakpoint here to see what response do I get here. It asks for me to sign in, and then I can log into using any of the test accounts or the one that I've been using. Pass for my password. It's asking for all the scopes that I have asked. Execute this network call for me and give me some data. Cool. Let's check out what is it in data. Cool. It has fetched all the details for me. Looks good. Yep, folks. So that's all you need to do to add these SDKs and start building something around these.